Hey, this is Al Angelo from A Plus Racing. I'm bringing you a video on things that I will and will not do. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of comments about, hey Al, can you do an auto swap and show us the steps, or can you show us how to build differentials and stuff? And so I hate not doing the video, but I want to tell you why I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. So I want to give you some warning in advance. So let's just jump right into it. The auto swap. I got several people asking me, hey Al, are you ever going to do an auto swap? Have I done an auto swap? Yes. Will I do another one? No. Did I like doing it? No, not at all. So did I run into problems? Yes. And it wasn't so much making the car into a manual. The problem was the electrical. So everybody I talked to told me, oh yeah, all you got to do is just unplug the transmission, put the new manual in, and you're going to be good to go. I did that. And one, they didn't run right. They didn't idle right. They didn't have power. I had all kinds of drivability issues. And I tried to chase down those issues, and finally I just gave up, and I just went down to the wrecking yard and pulled a wiring harness out of a 94 manual, and I put it in a 94 car that was an automatic. And so, and then after that, it was fine. Matter of fact, the car is right here. We're doing some stuff to it, and we're going to be racing it next weekend. So a kid in my class wanted to do a manual swap. So he had an automatic, a 97 I think he had. And I told him I had all kinds of problems when I did it. We put it up on the lift. We unplugged all the transmission stuff. We fired it up, and it ran fine. It didn't miss a beat. So I was like, well, I guess go ahead and try it. So he went and did the manual swap, and I helped him. It ran for about a month, and then he had all kinds of problems with it not running right. And so he ended up going to a wrecking yard, buying a wiring harness out of a car, brought it back, and replaced the entire wiring harness. And as far as I know, he's still driving the car today. So that's the two that I've done, all right? And neither one of them worked out very well. It took a while. I do have a Spec Miata, an MB1, that I bought a couple months ago, and it had already been swapped to a manual and wasn't automatic. I put the vehicle up in the air, and I saw the electrical wiring harness hanging off the side of the transmission, so where it used to have a manual, or used to have an automatic. So it had a manual swap. And this seems to run fine. I don't have any problems with it. Everyone is great. So I have that one. That's fine, but that's an NB1. So I don't know if the NB1s are easier to do than the NAs. I don't know. So I just don't. I don't ever plan on doing another manual swap. And so I'm sorry about that video. I'm sure there's other people out there who have posted some videos that you can get to, but I'm not doing them. All those friends that told me, oh yeah, it'll work. I called them back. I'm like, hey, I'm having all kinds of problems. They told me, oh yeah, well, I've never really done one. I just heard you could do it. So I'm the only one I know that's done one that actually did it. So none of them ever done one. All right, so that's the manual swap. So let's see. Second one is valve lash. I get this question every now and then. Al, where do you set the valve lash? I tell you, all of my valve lash is done at the machine shop. So basically when I need a head done on a car that's an MB1 that has a mechanical cam, I just take it to Moore's here in Auburn. He sets the heads up for me. He sets everything up. I just bolt it to the car and run it. Is that the right way of doing it? No, it really isn't the right way. So the right way that we should be doing it is I should be bolting it to the car, to the block, and then checking it again. All right, that's the right way to do it. I've never had any problems. They always ran. They always run good. I've never burned any valves. I've never lost any compression. So whatever Rich is doing down there at Moore's Engine Supplies, he's doing me right because they always run and I don't ever have any issues. Also, too, it takes special tools to do it. Not that I couldn't come up with them, but it also takes shims. And so there's all different types of shims. I've given him several heads over the years that ended up being garbage. So he has a box of my shims there, and as he needs them, he uses them. So that's what's nice about having them do it for me. They store my parts for me there, and he takes care of all that. So the valve lash, I mean, I could probably do a video on how to check it, but as far as making any adjustments or anything like that, I don't make any adjustments on them. All right, I hope that answers the question. Let's see, diffs. All right. When I worked for Ford Motor Company, I was a powertrain specialist, all right? So I actually had a senior master tech, which means I could work on anything bumper to bumper on a Ford vehicle. But my primarily meat and potatoes that I provided for my family was that I was a powertrain specialist, and mostly that meant that I built automatic transmissions. So I did a lot of automatic transmissions, stick shift transmissions, transfer cases, differential, and driveline. That was like my meat and potato as far as when I worked for Ford. So I built a lot of differentials, tens of thousands of them over the 20 some odd years I worked for Ford Motor Company. And so I know the right way to build a differential. Do I do that? No. Okay. And here's the reason why I don't do it. So I don't follow my own rules on building a differential for the fact that these are race cars, and I don't care if the rear end howls or whines or makes any noises. All right. So now if I was going to build a rear end for a street car, then I would build it completely different than the way that I do a race car. Now, if you want me to show you how I rebuild a differential in a race car, I can do that, but I want you to know that I'm going to skip vital steps that I would not skip if this was going to be a customer paid job and that I was going to put it out on the street. These are my vehicles that I'm renting out, and if the rear end howls or whines or makes a weird sound, you probably can't even tell over the sound of everything else that's going on in the car. All right. So if you want me to do that video, I will. And usually, for the most part, what I'm doing is I'm usually buying a 410 Torsen and converting it to 430 gearing. And so I swap the spools, and I can show you how to do that. It's fairly simple and easy and doesn't take that long. Okay. So I can do that for you. Shaving weight, I get this one asked every now and then. How do I shave weight? Well, in the NB cars, which are mostly the cars I'm building now, we're actually we have to gain weight. To get to 2,400 pounds, we have to put more weight in the car, not take more weight out of the car. And so, but one of the ways that you could shave weight, like on the NA, is that you could take that thick mat that's in between the firewall and the inside of the car. You could take that out. That's a pretty big, thick mat. A lot of the insulation, the thick rubbery stuff, people put dry ice on it, freeze it, break it, shatter it, pull that all off. Those are ways to shave weight. Legally, we're not supposed to like leave parts off. I usually remove everything for the airbag. I take all of the modules out and all of that. I take that stuff out. You're supposed to leave the heater core still in there. You know, has anybody ever checked me? No. Can they? Yeah. You know, when I was racing a 1.6 car, I took out the wiper motor and some stuff like that to try to make the weight. I still couldn't make the 2275. But, you know, so it seems like for me, we're always having to, in the MBs, I have to add weight to make 2,400 pounds. So I hope that helps. But you'll see me we're building an MB right now, so you can follow that step by step and see what we're doing. Power steering mods, I get this one asked at least once a week, and that is, Al, so do you ever take the whole rack apart and cut this and weld this and get rid of? No, I don't do any of that. So, and the reason why I don't do it is because I've been looping the system since the beginning. We've won the 25-hour of Thunder Hill. We've won, you know, majors and nationals, and we've won races all over on just the loop, and nobody ever complains about the way the car handles or anything like that. I think, in my opinion, okay, it's more trouble than it's worth. I don't have any problem with looping it, which I did a video on that, and then how the car handles and it feels. Nobody ever complains about it, so no one's ever complained. And I rent cars out to drivers from all over the world, and no one's ever said, wow, your steering feels kind of funky because you just looped it. So I don't go through that expense and time to take all the guts out of the power steering and cut or weld or whatever they're doing in there. I don't know. So I'm just showing the tricks that I use in my world. And this is what I do, and I'm successful with it, and I know that it works. And if you want to follow me on that, that's great. If you want to take the rack apart and cut up whatever and weld it up, that's fine too. You know, whatever works for you, and maybe you'll like the way it feels better. I don't know. But as far as me, I just loop the power steering. So I'm not going to do a video on how to take it apart. One, I don't know how, and I don't do that. So, but for the most part, I have a zillion ideas in my head on doing videos, and a lot of them you have brought up. And, you know, I know one of them I get asked quite a bit, and I really need to settle down and do it, is like, how do I prepare the car for a race? You know, those are ones that are coming up on top of the economy Spec Miata build that we're doing. I know some people have asked me about, well, how do you do your own body work? And so, you know, I can show you how to do some minor body work, you know, on your own car. I can do some of those. So I do have some ideas of videos to come up in the future. But for the most part, those are the what I will and will not do. All right. Hey, so sign up on my Instagram. If you haven't subscribed yet, by all means, subscribe so you can stay on top of what comes out. And, you know, and I hope that you enjoy the vehicle. I really appreciate you chiming in, and I'll see you at the racetrack. All right. Bye now. See ya.